Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews 11 is more commonly or most commonly known as the Hall of Faith or the Faith chapter. There are many great men and women that are mentioned in this chapter. Hebrews 11 starts out by giving us the most concise and the best definition for faith. So let's look at Hebrews 11, and we'll start right in verse number 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith simply is believing in something that we cannot see and trusting that it is there. That definition that is listed here in Hebrews for faith, that applies for faith in anything. Let me give you an example. The internet. I have faith in the internet. I cannot see it. Can you see the internet? Has somebody ever seen the internet? No. Okay. You cannot see it. But I believe that is there. When I make a phone call, when I send a text, when I send an email, some of you are like, what's an email? When I send an email, I have faith that that message that I sent, it's going to go to whoever I sent it to. They're going to get it and they're going to be able to send me a response, right? It's something I cannot see, but I believe that it's there. Okay, how many of you believe in magnetism? How many believe that there is magnetism? What? 3 people. How many of you believe in magnetism? How many believe that it's there? Okay, how many of you have ever seen magnetism? Nobody's ever seen it before, but you see its effects and you know that it's there. And you have faith in it, right? If you pulled out a compass, and that compass, you are going to believe that that compass is going to point north. And hopefully it didn't get messed up somehow, but if everything is operational, that compass is going to point north. And you believe in it, and you trust that, right? Gravity. This is my least favorite thing. When I step on the scale, because it tells me that it's there, and it tells me how much weight it takes to hold me on this earth. Okay, sometimes it's a little more than I'd like to see. But I can't see gravity, but I believe that it's there, and I believe in it. So I have faith. I believe in something that I can't see. The wind. You can't see the wind. You can see its effects, but I believe that it's there, even though I can't see it. So that verse, that first verse, that describes faith. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Everybody has faith. If you have sent a text message, you have faith. If you've used the internet, you have faith. Okay? I'm going to talk a little bit about this more in Sunday school, and I've mentioned it before, but as Christians, we all have faith. If you're under the sound of my voice tonight, you have faith of some kind. Okay? Here's how I know you do. Because if you did not believe in God, you would not be here tonight. It's that, or you're just crazy, because you're wasting your time. You're wasting the gas money it took you to get here. You could be doing anything else. You could be earning more money. If you didn't believe in God, you wouldn't be here and you'd be wasting your time, right? It takes faith. If I didn't believe in what I did, if I didn't believe that Jesus Christ can save a lost soul and change their life forever, I wouldn't be here. I'd be crazy. I got a job offer at my last job that I was at. I left Omega, went and worked for a guy temporarily, and the last week before I left, he was trying to get me to stay. He offered me $70,000 a year and a company truck and a couple weeks vacation. I said, his name is Kyle. I said, Kyle, it doesn't matter what you offer me. I'm not taking it. You could offer me $100,000. You could offer me $1 million. I'm not going to take it. Well, that's just crazy. If I didn't believe in God, if I didn't have faith in God, that's just stupid to not take that offer. But we're all here because we all have faith of some kind. Because we believe in something that we cannot see. Now we can see its effects. I can see when a soul gets saved, how their life is changed. When somebody dedicates their life to the Lord, or somebody turns from their sin and trusts the Lord to bless, and when they follow the Lord's leading and the Lord's guidance and changes their life, I see the effects of it. But nobody has seen God face to face. So you're here tonight because you have faith. Okay, so we are going to talk a little bit tonight about exercising our faith. There are many different ways in which we can exercise or show our faith to the Lord. The remainder of Hebrews chapter 11 goes through and talks about great men and women who exercised their faith in many different ways. Tonight, here's what we're going to do. There's going to be 10 people. There's going to be verses that go with them. There's 10 different people that are mentioned, not counting the little list that's thrown in at the end. We're not going to go through that list. But there's 10 different people. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have each of us pick somebody from this chapter. I'm going to name them. If you hear one that you want to do, write the name down. Some of you choose to pick some towards the end. That way everybody doesn't pick Enoch. Okay? I'm going to name the people that they are, and the verse that goes with them. I want you to choose a name, and I want you to write 2 things. So first, let's go through, choose the name. So the first one's going to be Abel, verse 4. Enoch, verse 5 and 6. Noah is verse 7. Abraham, his is going to be verses 8 through 10 and 17 through 19. There's Sarah in verse 11. Isaac, verse 20. Jacob, verse 21. Joseph, verse 22. Moses is going to be verses 23 through 28. And Rahab is verse 31. Okay, those are the 10 different people in here. Does anybody need me to read the list or near the end of the list or a verse? Past Joseph. Joseph, there's Moses, which is verse 23 through 28, and Rahab, which is verse 31. You can pick any of those. I want everybody to pick one and just write their name down, and then I'll tell you what you're going to write about that person. Has everybody got one down? If not, I can read them again. We've got 35 minutes. Do you want one? Noah is going to be verse 7. Has everybody got one? If not, just make somebody up. No. If somebody needs one, don't feel bad. Do you need one, Brother Jacob? Oh, he's just smiling at me. He's just excited. All right, here's what we're going to do. If everybody's got one and you got a verse and the verse that goes with it, here's what I want you to do. How did that person exercise their faith? Here's a hint. If you read the verse, it'll basically tell you. Now, I want you to expound just a touch. I don't want a message. I want you to expound just a touch of how that person exercised their faith. I don't want somebody to say, well, Noah exercised his faith by being faithful. Well, thank you. Expound just a little bit. How did that person that you picked, how did they exercise faith? I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to do so. Give you about 3 minutes. How did that person exercise faith? It may be something that's not necessarily listed in the verse. Some of these people have many, many, many different ways that they exercise their faith. So you can pick outside the verse. You can go outside the box. But how did that person exercise faith? I'll give you about 1 more minute. All right, if you're still writing, that's all right. If you're still reading, that's all right. I'm going to start with Abel. Did somebody pick Abel? Did anybody pick Abel? Nobody picked poor Abel? Or nobody just wants to share? Did anybody pick Abel? Okay, did anybody pick Enoch? How did Enoch show his faith? He pleased God. That's how the verse says pretty basic. He pleased God. How did how did Noah exercise his faith? Go ahead, Brother Jamie.
Exercise his faith by building the ark, gathering the animals to save himself, his family, and his son.
Absolutely. What did you think? Go ahead.
I got it down that he never saw rain before.
He never saw rain.
Never. Didn't know what rain was.
He believed in something he couldn't see. And then he exercised it by taking 100 years to build a boat because rain, something he hadn't seen, was coming. Brother Ethan?
It took a long time to see the results.
Yeah, he exercised his faith for a very, very long period of time without seeing it. Brother Jacob, did you have it too? I got everybody. Oh, Miss Caitlin, what do you got? Absolutely. Everybody was ridiculing him, thought he was crazy. Maybe he was, but he wasn't. Go ahead. She said that he continued to build the ark and preach to the people even though they didn't listen and they didn't believe. He was faithful in that. Go ahead. And he listened to God. He exercised his faith. Okay, Abraham. How did Abraham exercise his faith? Somebody pick Abraham? Go ahead.
It says that Abraham was willing to give up having a permanent home because he knew he would have a permanent home in heaven. But that was totally by faith. He didn't have the scriptures that we have to read about heaven. I go to prepare a place for you. He didn't know those things. By faith, he believed God to give up a permanent home here on the earth to be able to have a permanent home in heaven.
Humans need structure. Humans need, stability. And Abraham was faithful to the Lord and to follow Him wherever He asked him to go. And that's how he exercised his faith. Anybody else have something about Abraham? Okay. How about Sarah? Did anybody pick Sarah? Go ahead.
Sarah, being quite old, gave herself to her husband in faith, knowing that God had promised a child. So yes, I'll go forward, even though I'm of age, pursue that.
Sarah had faith to believe a miracle could happen. She didn't have it at first. She laughed when she heard it at first, but then she was submissive to what the Lord had, and she bare a child very, very late in years. Anybody else have something for Sarah? If not, let's do Isaac would be next in verse number 20. Nobody have anything for Isaac? Anybody have anything for Jacob? Verse 21. Anybody else have something for verse 21? Jacob? Anybody have something for Joseph? Verse 22 for the Josh?
Out of all the things that Joseph is known for, and found it very interesting that 22, that it regarded his commandment says concerning his bones, that when he knew he had the faith that one day Israel would go back to the nation that God had promised and the land that God had promised them, and he gave the commandment that his bones would be taken back to that promised land that God gave to the people, even though at that point in time they were going through a great famine where they were connected to people.
Joseph never got to see what was going to happen. He never got to see the promised land and see Israel set up in the 12 tribes. He never got to see that. But he believed that it would happen. And he exercised it by having his bones picked up and taken where the Israelites were going to go. Awesome, Brother Josh. Maybe next Wednesday night when Pastor's gone. Amen. Anybody else got... Anybody? All right, how about Moses, verse 23 through 28? Anybody got something for Moses? My wife does. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said, even though he felt inadequate for the job, God was to lead the people out of Egypt. He did that. It says, by faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible.
He had the faith to stand up against an opponent whom he was very familiar with, and he knew how strong Egypt was. But he believed in somebody he couldn't see. He had faith that the invisible one was going to take care of him. Anybody else have something for Moses? If not, let's do Rahab, verse 31. Go ahead.
In the Old Testament, Joshua, where Rahab, she had heard about the stories about how the Jews were saved and how they came across and God had dried the sea, and she believed by faith that God was going to protect her because she was doing something that she knew was going to protect God's people. But she never saw what they went through.
Yeah.
She had heard the story.
She physically never saw any of the mighty works that God had done to get them to Jericho. She believed in two men that she did not know. She believed in a God that not only she hadn't seen, but she hadn't even seen the works of God. Where even we haven't seen God, but I've seen the works of God in it, and it grows my faith. She had blind faith, but she knew. She heard stories, and so she had faith. I believe that is why she would be listed in the Hall of Faith. She had ultimate faith and gave the Israelites a victory that never would have been without her and her household. Mrs. Rogers had her hand up. Go ahead.
Very similar to that. She said she knew the Lord was going to give her the land, but when she exercised her faith by hiding the spies, which could have cost her her life, she hid from the court
when those walls began to shake and started to come down, I wonder how much faith, I wonder what she was holding on to, or if she was, I probably would have been holding on to everything. Please, God, don't kill me. I believe. She had a lot of faith to believe in something that she hadn't seen. All right, so now we're going to turn it on its head. The second thing that you're going to write, and you don't have to share it if you don't like to, but I want to give you an opportunity to. How can you exercise that faith? That person that you picked, how could you exercise that same faith? Today, this week, in your life, how can you exercise that type of faith of the person that you picked? There's a reason why you picked that person. It stood out for some reason. You picked that person. The person that you picked, how they exercise their faith. How can you exercise that same faith in that same way in your life? I'll give you a couple minutes to write it down. The real message is going to be 2 minutes long, and it's in James chapter 2. Flip forward to James chapter 2 if you're in Hebrews. So everything so far has been 100% spot on. The breakdowns of the different people, how they exercise their faith, that was, everybody had something, even if they picked the same person, they had something different. These people that are mentioned, they didn't have faith just in one area. Maybe one thing was listed in Hebrews chapter 11, but it wasn't just in one area. They lived lives of faith, and they gave up more than just what's listed. And they were able to follow the Lord of faith. But James chapter 2, this is the challenge for you. James chapter 2, verse number 14 through 16. I'm going to read it. You follow along. If you're a highlighter or underliner or maybe a star, you can put Hebrews chapter 11 next to these verses that I'm going to read. James chapter 2, verse number 14 through 16. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? Verse number 17. Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Each one of you voiced to me, here's how I can exercise faith. Here's how this person exercised faith. Here's how I can exercise faith. That's great. You telling me that you're going to exercise faith is not going to cut it. You can tell God, I have faith in you, I have faith in you. You can show up to church, you can say, I have faith. But then when it's time for you to exercise faith, if you don't exercise faith, your faith is dead. Verse number 26. James chapter 2, verse number 26. If you underline or highlight, you can put little mark next to this verse 2. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. We believe that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. We say this is just a shell. This is just, it's dirt. And we came as dirt and we'll return as dirt. And that's so true because the spirit, that's what lives forever. And our soul, it goes to heaven and lives with Jesus. If that's true, so is faith without works. Faith is just dirt. It's just an empty shell that we claim unless we have the works to back it up. We aren't saved by works. We're saved by faith. But we can say that we have faith till we're blue in the face, but if we do not back it up with our actions, then it's just dead. Don't have dead faith. Exercise your faith. It's not going to be comfortable. I don't like running because it makes me tired. I don't lift weights because they're heavy. That's why I don't exercise. But in this matter of faith, we need to exercise our faith. Those things that we just said with our mouths. Here's how I can exercise faith. It sounds good, but when you walk out these doors, are you going to do it? Faith without works is dead.